Hi everyone, and welcome to another Fitrus Friday video. So we're today going to be having a look at what the impact is of physical health on mental health is. Of course, as I'm sure a lot of you are aware, there is a fundamental link between our physical health and our mental health, and both are intertwined. And today we're going to be having a look at how our physical health has a direct impact and a direct consequence on our mental health, for the better, of course. And who better to ask this of than two fabulously trained professionals in this industry. We've got both Ilyas and Samina Govani, who are both the founders of GWG, of course, right? Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us on.
Yeah, definitely. No, thank you for coming on.
Great. Honored to be here.
Yeah, definitely. So I tell you what, let's just start off with finding out a little bit about GWG itself.
Sure.
So what sort of prompted you to start GWG, the pair of you, and how did it sort of initially come about?
So obviously, since a young age, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur, have my own business and work my own lifestyle. And I think about 2-3 years ago, I got into fitness quite a lot, started training and wanted to get my body in peak condition. So I thought, you know what, why don't I merge the two? My passion and something I've always wanted to do in life. So I thought, let's try and start a personal training company. So I think about 2 years ago, I just searched some random courses online. And I was like, you know what, let's just go for it, see what happens. Studied the course for about 9 months. And then started slowly coming up with ideas, games with Govani, working at the gym, training clients. And then slowly from there, it just picked up. And the brand name just suddenly got out there. And it just started to pick up. People enjoyed it. I had a lot of clients. Like at the beginning, it was very slow. And eventually, after about 6-7 months, it just picked up. And since then, it's been crazy growth, which has been amazing.
That's fantastic.
So it was just a matter of merging passion and something I've always wanted to do.
Sure, that's absolutely brilliant, and I suppose it's a great convenience, isn't it? Having
100%.
something that you're passionate about and having that entrepreneurial spirit and managing to sort of merge
Correct,
the two,
yeah.
right? And of course, you've obviously joined as a personal trainer as well now, being the
Yes.
first female trainer with GWG. So, what was your journey like into personal training?
So mine was completely different. I wasn't, interested in having my business at all. As a young age, I always thought I would do a normal 9-to-5 job, like 99% of the world. And then obviously Ilyas started by himself completely. So I never really had a passion for fitness. I enjoyed like team sports, so netball, football, things like that. But I wasn't really a gym goer. And then I think what really started, the passion for me was as we were getting closer to our wedding, I obviously wanted to look my best for the wedding. So I started going to the gym more and more. And I actually realised that, hang on, gyms aren't really that bad.
Yeah.
And then obviously after we got married, just seeing his passion, and I thought, you know what, let me give this a go. What's the harm? There's nothing to lose. And I know he was saying that when he started his personal training, it was quite slow. But I think when I started, a lot of his clients, their sisters or their wives or their mothers, they really jumped onto the fact that, oh, now Ilyas has a female trainer. So I think that's why it was quite a smooth kind of transition, and it was good for the business, I think, as well, introducing a female personal trainer into it as well.
Yeah, I suppose it's very, very helpful to have sort of a trainer who can cater for that type of audience. Of course, we are sort of part of sort of a society where potentially people may be more comfortable with having more of a female personal trainer, right, when it comes to those specific clientele. So that's good to see that you guys are catering to that. What I wanted to find out a little bit more though is sort of the personal side of the link when it comes to physical health and mental health as well. So of course, as I'm sure the pair of you are aware, there is a fundamental link between the pair of them, and having great physical health is linked with having great mental health and having great well-being in general. And so I wanted to find out if you had any stories of any clients of yours who have managed to benefit from this sort of link, where, for example, before the training, they weren't sort of very keen or weren't really in the right space, but afterwards, maybe after a few sessions, they're in a different space altogether.
Sure. So obviously I won't name any names, obviously, but
Sure.
I had a couple of clients. One who was around 18 years old, and he was very overweight at that time. So when he was going out and stuff, he felt very intimidated, didn't like being out with his friends, and typical, if you go out on a Friday night you want to enjoy whenever you go out. So he would always be reserved, like I won't get this, I won't get that because I'll get judged. So he actually came to me and we started training, and we trained for about 6-7 months. His body transitioned from where he started and where we are now, or where he was until we obviously finished our journey. His body did like a complete 360, and when he went out with his friends and when he was in public, he felt a lot more confident, and that had a massive like impact on his mental health as well, because he was like free to do whatever he wants, he could be himself. And he also told me that he felt a lot more positive, and he didn't have that much like concerns, like, you know, when you go out you don't feel like people judge you, whatever. So he was like, it was a lot more chill to just be out, be myself and feel comfortable. So we've had a lot of clients that have had a lot of reservations because of their body types, which is understandable because it's a massive thing right now. And once they start training, they feel a lot more positive, they just feel naturally more fit, be it physically or even mentally a lot more fit. And when they go out, they just feel more fresh. So I think physical fitness has a massive impact on mental health.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, what's really interesting is, you know, you've mentioned about how people can be a little bit uncomfortable with their own body type, how that can have a consequence on their own self-perception, their own self-confidence, and you know, there is a link, I suppose, between that. There is, of course, a societal sort of expectation as well, which is, I think, arguably not very healthy.
No.
But obviously, that's the society we live in at the moment. It's really interesting to see, of course, specifically for women as well, how a lot of them can be quite self-conscious about the way they look and the way they are, and that'll have an impact on the way that they feel. Have you had any sort of experiences of your own clientele, in terms of female clients specifically, who've managed to sort of make that transition from not feeling so great about themselves to now feeling amazing and more self-confident?
Do you know what? I think I know what you were saying, like in terms of it not being healthy. I think social media has a massive, you know, impact. So, you know, we'll just wake up, go on Instagram, and, you know, look at models who are, you know, size 0, like, you know, really skinny. And I remember a client of mine, she you know, relied on Instagram very heavily on her life. You know, she was on it for multiple hours a day, and she had always said that she wants to start going to the gym. But after her job, she would always, you know, find it exhausting and just like a chore to get out the house. So I told her, let's try and incorporate gym in the morning before you go to work. And then obviously if you don't like it, that's fine, we can stop. So she started doing that, and she actually found it so, she really enjoyed just kind of getting it over and done with in the morning. And she found that even at work, she was a lot more, you know, alert, fresher, because as you know, exercise releases endorphins. So, you know, it gets you feeling fresh and happy for the rest of the day. So yeah, that was a really like lovely thing to hear from her, saying that she's so much fresher, she feels happier, and you know, she's a lot more comfortable scrolling on Instagram now, which was lovely to hear.
That's fantastic. I mean, you know, I suppose there's a debate around sort of the impact of social media on our own body image, which I think is a discussion for another day. But I think for what we're talking about now, in terms of sort of the link between physical and mental health, have you sort of had any challenges with clients who may be sort of not in the right space in terms of their mental health or their well-being, and have found sort of physical training to be of benefit?
100%. So, you know what, I've had quite a few clients. Most of my clients have a goal of basically losing a lot of weight. And a lot of them often felt quite frustrated because they tried training on their own, didn't work out, and then they're like, you know what, this is not working, diet's not working, and then they come to a point where they just give up. And I feel like that's where we've come in and we've benefited them a lot, where we've given them a structure, we've given them diet plans, and when they've followed it with consistency and we've given them positive messages, motivational messages, their body has changed in such a way that they feel like it's just a massive 360 in their life. So I feel like if people have the right mindset towards certain things, they can achieve anything, for sure.
In terms of the, you know, we've talked about this idea of, you know, your clients having gained with the pair of you in terms of sort of their physical fitness, their mental fitness, their emotional well-being, how they feel about themselves. They're gaining, you know, all these various sort of benefits, you know, from working out with the pair of you. So, you know, obviously your company, GWG, right? I'm aware of the fact that it stands for Gains with Govani, right? Yeah. But in your minds, for the pair of you, what does gains actually mean in that framework?
Sure. So I think often when people see the word gains, they'll associate it to muscles and bodybuilding and whatnot. So our vision was, when we said gains, was a more like a broader meaning to gains. So it would be gains in muscle, it could be gains in fitness, gains in mental health. So we know that obviously physical fitness improves your mental health fitness. So you basically gain in both aspects. So our vision was that I want my brand, my company, our business to be gains, but gains in every single thing possible. And that could be whatever your goals are, be it fat loss, weight training, whatever it could be. That's what we wanted gains to basically stand for. So it's a more broader meaning, not just muscle. Yeah.
Sure, fair enough.
But yeah, I think it's a nice word how, gains, as in, it could mean anything. Like if I were to say the word gains to you, what would be the first thing that was to pop into your mind?
It's a great question. Haven't been on the other side, to be honest. It's usually me asking the questions, isn't it? Yeah, I suppose in terms of gains, I suppose, for me specifically, it's more around gaining that self-confidence. For me, so if I think about my own physical fitness journey, I've never been much of a gym rat, to be honest, and I know that a lot of friends, thank you, and it's a great setup, by the way, that you've got here. But in terms of, like my mates, I know a lot of people who'd go to the gym at least 4, 5, sometimes 6 times a week. They were absolutely mad about it, having protein shakes and this, that, and the other. And for me, it wasn't really quite there.
Yeah.
But I found that through my running journey specifically, getting outside in the open, regardless of sun, rain, cold, whatever, just getting outside and getting that motivation to go and put your trainers on and go, I think has really helped in terms of gaining, my own self-confidence, for going outside, tackling, because for me, it's more of a mental thing more than anything else. To say that if I can tackle this, I can tackle anything,
Exactly.
So that for me is what my definition of gains
Exactly.
was, I would say.
So even like, for example, if it's absolutely chucking it down, but if you tell yourself like, you're still going to go out and do your running,
Yeah.
that impact can go on to later things in life, and even in, work-related things. You might have a really hard obstacle at work, but, you will think to yourself, if I manage to run in the rain, then surely I can, do anything. I can speak back to my boss or like whatever, challenges. So it's about gaining positive value into your life, really.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think what builds on that really nicely is just this idea of mental resilience, right? So we have this idea in mental health that when you build up your own resilience, the chances of you having an emotional breakdown, or at times when or the chances of you developing a diagnosable mental health condition dramatically reduces.
Right.
Because you've got that chance to sort of be resilient, to say that, right, if this is happening in my life, this is how I'm going to tackle it, and see it in a very different way. So I think this is a really good way of doing so, actually. I'd just like to explore very briefly, before we sort of round things off for today, in terms of the impact that having this business has had on your relationship. So of course you are a husband and wife team, right? How long have you been married for, remind me?
9 months, just over 9 months.
Over 9 months, all right. That is hopefully the correct answer.
Yeah.
But yeah, so having, being in a obviously a marital relationship as well as being business partners too, gaining all that you've gained per se, so to speak, must obviously reap some benefits, right? What's been the benefit in terms of your marital relationship?
I think more than looking just at the business side, in terms of me and her having an influence on each other in terms of fitness, we make sure we push each other. And obviously because of lockdown now, you can't just go out with a random Joe and go train with someone. So we've started training a lot more together every day, and just to have that push with someone, to get through it, good motivation. I think in terms of the physical aspect, it's definitely helped us. In terms of business, it's brought like some fresh air into the business, where some of the ideas that she's given to me I would have never thought of in my life. Because for me, it's just like, it's probably not the right thing for me to do. But she'll come, she'll explain it, and you'll be like, okay, you know what, let's give it a go. And some things just really pick up. And I feel like if she wasn't part of the business, me sharing my vision, like obviously she'll respond to it, but she wouldn't fully understand because she's not part of it. But now that she's part of it, it's like when I say something, it's like, okay, it's understandable, relatable, and we can discuss it a bit more in depth. So I think in terms of having roped her in, and as I said, marriage is a business plan. So I think having roped her in, it's just helped grow the business to like a different level. And how much we've progressed in lockdown has been an absolute blessing. So I think marriage has definitely been the key factor to the growth of GWG, for sure.
Yeah, I know completely, because I remember before when I wasn't part of GWG, he would tell me about ideas, and I'd listen, I'd be like, oh wow, that sounds great, but then that's it. I would kind of forget about it fairly quickly. But now if he does have an idea, I'm like, oh my god, that's amazing, let's try and grow it, because now obviously we're in it together. And I think in terms of our relationship, we make sure that, you know, if we have date night, we make sure that we do not mention the word GWG or clients or work, because we have to have that, you know, that balance.
Establish boundaries.
Exactly.
And it's not as bad as some people think it would be. Like, you know, people can say that you're married 24/7, you're working together 24/7, so there's no like split time. It's like, you know, some people would say like, if you're working your own thing, I'm working my own thing, at least at night you can talk about something which is two different things. But I feel like it's actually been like an added spark into the relationship where we can talk about the same thing, grow the same thing, because the business is still fairly new. It's a year and a half. It's still a baby in its growth stages, so it's nice to basically be on this journey together and hopefully see it grow from where it is right now, where it was, to where it hopefully could be in about 4 or 5 years time.
Because I feel like even if we are doing the same thing, obviously he'll have his own clients, which I won't be a part of, and vice versa. So, you know, it's kind of, even though we're working together, we're still working separately. So, you know, we do always have things to catch up on, or, you know, certain new exercises that we've learned, or, you know, whatnot.
Sure. I suppose that just leaves me to say thank you very much, I suppose. It's been a fantastic conversation with the pair of you. Really appreciate your insights and you know, your knowledge around sort of, you know, physical health, and also sharing your experiences and your stories about the clients who benefited not only physically but mentally as well. So I hope you know, you all as viewers manage to take on board what we've discussed today. Hopefully you get a chance to get outside or hit the gym, or maybe call it GWG and see if you'd like to get involved. So yeah, certainly. Thank you very much for all of you who are viewing. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel when you are indeed watching on there. And make sure you press the like button as well. And next to the subscribe button, you should see a bell notification icon. Do make sure that you click that as well, so you get all the latest videos directly into your inbox. Thank you very much for watching. Until next episode, take care.